Today, the next chapter of class 9, that is water, which is the third chapter. Water is very important for various purposes, not for drinking only, not for circulation in the blood, not for only the transportation. In many fields of life, water is very, very important. Water occurs in free state as well as in combined state. The free state water is found in solid state in the poles, then in the form of solid snow, in the form of ice. The second one, in the form of water, is it found in rivers, it is found in oceans, found in lakes and different water bodies on the surface of earth. And in gaseous state, it is found as a water vapor. So in all the three state, water is in free state, found on the surface of earth and above. In combined state, it is in combined state, it is found in different salts and hydrated water. In combined state, it is found in different kinds of salts, in different kinds of compounds, in different way. Even in sugar, water is there, but it is in combined state. At many places we find that water is available in combined state as well. So it is found in all the two states, in free and combined state. Water is a compound. Let us see. Why is water compound? The reason behind that, it is found in fixed ratio by mass as well as in volume. Hydrogen and oxygen. The ratio of hydrogen and oxygen by volume, it is 2:1. But in the case of mass, when we see the formula of water, that is H2O, 2:16 or 1:8. In the ratio of 1:8 by mass, hydrogen and oxygen. Therefore, the fixed ratio by mass, and hence it is compound. Henry Cavendish Lavoisier proved that this is a compound and it is nothing else as an element. We can see their bonding also, that water is a polar covalent compound. The bonding is like this. One electron of hydrogen combines with one electron of oxygen to form this doublet. Another hydrogen combines by same way, and oxygen forms its octet, and in this way we have the angular structure of water like this. The 104 degree between oxygen, hydrogen, and in this way it is forming polar covalent bond. We know oxygen is the electronegative element, therefore it forms slight negative charge on itself by attracting the shared electron towards itself. Hence it is polar covalent compound. We are coming to the next topic, that water is a universal solvent. It is a universal solvent, that means it dissolves maximum compound elements and mixture in it. What is the reason behind? It is the reason that it is a polar covalent bond between water molecule, and another kind of bond, it is called hydrogen bond. So these polar covalent bond and hydrogen bonding are the two basic characteristics which is found in water, which makes water as a universal solvent. NaCl will be put, Na will be surrounded by, through all these sides, by oxygen, and in this way it will be dissolved into water. It has another property, that it has high dielectric constant value, that makes water as a universal solvent. This causes water to dissolve maximum substance into it. Now we are coming to that to know that water cycle. What is water cycle? Circulation of water from earth to atmosphere and again back to the earth by different processes there. We are having water on the surface of earth, it evaporates, goes into the atmosphere, in the form of rain it comes and it again comes back to the surface of earth. Plants also absorb water, respiration happens and many other reactions happens, water goes into the atmosphere and come back. In this way, there is different kinds of circulatory system which makes as a water cycle. Now, solution. It forms very good solutions with, as it is universal solvent. Now, what is solution? Solution is the homogeneous mixture of solute in a solvent which is called solution. Solution means homogeneous mixtures of two or more substances. Now, the solutions, water forms many kinds of solutions. That is, one we say concentrated solution, where the amount of solute is maximum. Dilute solution, more amount of water, one way of classification of solution. Another way of classification, that is saturated solution, unsaturated solution and supersaturated solution. Saturated solution means the amount of solute that it can dissolve at a particular temperature which is fixed. That makes it in such a way that it will not be able to dissolve more and more solute into it. So that is called saturated solution. Unsaturated solution at a particular temperature, when the amount of solute dissolved is less, that it means it will require more solute to dissolve into it at that temperature. So that will be called unsaturated. Supersaturated solution, the solution which contains more amount of solute into it in such a way that if it is settled for some time, the solute will be settling at the bottom of the solution. So that is called supersaturated solution. So in this way we classify them, that different kinds of solutions are there: saturated, unsaturated and supersaturated solutions. Solutions have certain characteristics. A solution is a clear and transparent one, means Tyndall effect is not shown into them, means when pass light, the light is not being scattered. That is why we should say that it is clear and transparent. Tyndall effect is essential to describe the solution. Filtration without any residue. When it is allowed to filter, nothing residue left on the filter paper. When it is in this way, filtration is done. It's a very essential part that it is a solution. Particles of the solute cannot be seen by even microscope. That is, size of the particle is very, very small, at the level of 10 to the power minus 7 to 10 to the power minus 9 meter, the solute particles should be there. So this is what is the main characteristics of our solutions should be there. Now the another topic we have solubility. What solubility is there? Solubility is the maximum amount of solute that dissolves in 100 gram of water at a particular temperature, which is called solubility. For example, if we say that 35 gram of water, 35 gram of sodium chloride dissolves in 100 gram of water at 30 degrees Celsius, then solubility of sodium chloride is 30. So in this way we describe them. So this is solubility, that amount of solute that dissolves in 100 gram of solute. So that is solubility. Solubility of certain substances have been given in this very graph, where temperature is written at the x-axis and the solubility is written on the y-axis. See the graph here. Potassium nitrate dissolves very fastly in water. The graph is very much going direction at 60 degrees Celsius, nearly 120 gram of sodium of potassium nitrate dissolves in 100 gram of water. Solubility of KCl is in this way given like this. Solubility of NaCl remains roundabout constant. Solubility of potassium chlorate is going to be slowly increasing by increasing the temperature. Meaning thereby temperature increases, solubility of the substance increases in the case of solid into water. This is the main motto about this one, that increasing the temperature in most of the substance solubility increases. This is one very important point, that how the solubility changes. Application of solubility, that we compare the solubility of different substances simultaneously. Solubility of the substance can be obtained once upon seeing the graph. We start calculation of the solubility also. There are certain numericals also. Suppose when we say that 7.5 gram of any salt that dissolved in 50 gram of water, then solubility of this very salt will be in 50 gram 7.5 gram salt dissolves. So in 100, in 1 gram 7.5 by 50, in 100 gram 7.5 by 50 into 100, that will be 15 gram. It means 15 gram per 100 gram of water, the solubility of that very salt is there. So this is how we calculate the solubility of the substance. Effect of temperature on solubility. So I have discussed earlier about the solubility of salt in water, but in certain gaseous materials, temperature increases, solubility decreases. Carbon dioxide solubility decreases when temperature increases. For other gases also, when we increase the temperature, solubility of the gases decreases in the case of water as a salt. Thank you all. Have a nice day.